Good morning. It's December 20th, and this is To My Liberal Friends. Electing Donald Trump to be president again will destroy democracy. How many times have we heard this or something similar to it from Joe Biden, Democrats in Congress, and their friends in the liberal media? It's their mantra, and they repeat it as often as they can in an attempt to scare voters. Now, they have no evidence to support this outrageous claim, but they keep hoping it resonates with voters and carries Democrats to victory in 2024. Now, we're a nation that elects its governing officials, but in Colorado this week, 4 state Supreme Court justices appointed by Democrats have decided that you cannot trust the voters, so they allowed a case to be brought before them by other Democrats that would remove Donald Trump from the primary ballot in Colorado. Remember, this is for the Republican primary, not the Democrats. They based their decision on some form of interpretation of the 14th Amendment. This amendment was passed in the Civil War era because of members of Congress from southern states supporting the Confederacy. That language of Section 3 in the 14th Amendment states, quote, "No person shall be a senator or representative in Congress or elector of president and vice president or hold any office, civil or military, under the United States or under any state who, having previously taken an oath as a member of Congress or as an officer of the United States or as a member of any state legislature or as an executive or judicial officer of any state to support the Constitution of the United States, shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same, or given aid or comfort to the enemies thereof. But Congress may, by a vote of 2/3 of each house, remove such disability." Now, these pompous idiots who issued this ruling fully realize this is a bombshell and will be appealed immediately, so they put their decision on hold until January 4th to allow for appeals. That's how sure they were of their decision. They further said that if the appeal is to the Supreme Court of the United States, the pause in enforcing the decision will remain until the court makes a decision. The Colorado presidential primary will be held on March 4th. Until the decision, Trump will remain on the ballot. That means the Supreme Court could take 2 actions. They could expedite the appeal and hear the case. If that's the case, I expect this decision will be reversed, and probably by unanimous decision. Even the likes of Justice Kagan, Sotomayor, and Jackson Brown will see this for what it is, a clear partisan effort to intervene in the election and remove the ability of voters to decide who they want to elect. The second action would be to accept the case, hear the arguments at some point, and simply let the clock run out, making the decision moot. The decision in Colorado, it says, they're verbatim, quote, "A majority of the court holds that President Trump is disqualified from holding the office of president under Section 3 of the 14th Amendment of the Constitution of the United States. Because he is disqualified, it would be a wrongful act under the election code for the Colorado Secretary of State to list him as a candidate on the presidential primary ballot," end quote. Now, funny, it doesn't address the general election ballot, but I would have to assume that based on that language, they would try to ban him from the general election ballot. That would tell me the court would have to use option 1 and overturn this decision. If they take that action and the decision is unanimous, they should also add an amendment to their decision demanding that the 4 Colorado jurists who issued this ruling resign. Now, that's tongue-in-cheek, and I know that's not going to happen. I find some solace that the Chief Justice in Colorado, Brian Boatwright, wrote a dissenting opinion that said, quote, "In the absence of an insurrection-related conviction, I would hold that a request to disqualify a candidate under Section 3 of the 14th Amendment is not a proper cause of action under Colorado's election code. Therefore, I would dismiss the claim at issue here," end quote. Democrats, who I remind you keep claiming that electing Trump will destroy democracy, have been hell-bent on destroying it by trying this tactic in multiple states. Now, the courts have ruled against them in Arizona, Michigan, and Minnesota. And it seems to me they have a fear that Donald Trump will defeat Joe Biden next November, so they now try to keep him off the ballot. The reaction by the other candidates in the Republican Party running against Trump for the nomination has been quick and unanimous. They've all denounced the decision as partisan politics by Democratic jurists appointed by Democratic governors. Not exactly sure what the Democrats in Colorado are afraid of, since Colorado has cast their electoral votes for a Democrat in the last 4 elections. But perhaps they know something might be afoot in Colorado and that Trump might actually capture those electoral votes. Polling in Colorado shows that voters in the states are dissatisfied. By a large margin, they believe that state taxes are too high. Both Democrats and Republicans in the poll felt that hard work was not rewarded. Over half the voters said that a good standard of living was unattainable in Colorado. They also said that housing costs are too high and with interest rates where they are, it's almost impossible for the average Coloradoan to buy a home. Now, Biden still leads Trump in the presidential polls in the state, but that lead has shrunk, and he consistently fails to break the 50% point. By a strong majority, they feel the nation's heading in the wrong direction, and those are not good numbers for an incumbent. So the next time you hear Biden or any of his acolytes tell you that Trump would be the end of democracy, you should be asking why they're doing everything possible to keep Trump off the ballot. Democracy is where the voters get to decide who will be elected. But it appears Democrats are losing faith in the electorate, so the activists within the party are now turning to the courts to try and deny Republicans the choice to choose their candidate. In the end, they're only giving Trump another hammer to hit them with and drive voters toward him. When he says the government, read that Democrats, are weaponizing the judiciary against him, decisions like this give him a modicum of credibility. This has been To My Liberal Friends. Thanks for listening.